Hey, good morning. I'm back with another video. It's 10:44 a.m. and let me adjust this. Looks like I'm going to be pretty busy today. And at first, I was like, I was just kind of like, well, what am I going to do today? Because the weather looks like shit, and I really don't feel like doing anything. My son's doing the Thanksgiving dinner. I am taking a seat back. I was not in the mood to celebrate Thanksgiving this year, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm just tired of dealing with people like, what I've experienced. Okay, like I don't even care. I told my son, I don't care about Thanksgiving. You do what you want to do. And of course, if he's going to make food, I'm going to eat it. Okay, but I'm just saying, it's like I don't really care about celebrating it this year. And hopefully I will have a Christmas. I will say that these people do things to sabotage and affect my life, just because they want to. Now, I had addressed I made a video earlier, but I decided not to upload it because I really didn't even have a picture frame for it or anything like that. Meaning, like, I just recorded it without any visuals, and it just looks sloppy. But anyway, I understand that people have gone to great lengths to dump on me, to create problems for me, and I had addressed my concerns about what was going on at Valley Strong Credit Union. And yes, I do believe that these people were orchestrating crime. Okay, and guess who suffers for it? I do understand. After making the video acknowledging my encounter with Shay Whitman, I did realize that she did subscribe to my channel 8 hours before I made those videos, because I had mentioned, why in the world is she communicating with me? So she's letting me know that yes, I am being watched. Okay, and why I'm being watched is because the message I've been getting is because I am somebody who is believed to be self-made. I am self-made. Okay, I grew up isolated. All the kids I grew up with were perps. They were highly indoctrinated by the church. And I always knew, like, I would hang out with them for a while, and then I would realize, okay, I didn't really feel like they were sincere. So I would back away. You know what I mean? Or I would distance myself, or, focus on other things, or try to find somebody else. But unfortunately, those friendships were toxic too because they were church affiliated. So the only person that I had in my life that I respected was myself. That's the truth. I mean, why in the world would I sit here and want to be a part of their correct? No one has, they were strategically designed to have issues with me because of the church indoctrination. So it would be impossible for me to have true solid friends, and I understood this. Okay, as soon as I realized I was a target, and as soon as I realized that this was a church affiliated thing or church inspired thing, I realized, okay, there is no one I can trust. I cannot trust anybody. Now I understand. Now I've talked about the burden babies, the reset, Cabbage Patch reset kids and stuff like that, and there are still people who want to inflict pain on me for no reason. Okay, so and then there are some people, they understand the issue. Some people, apparently, from when I get in the intuitive message, a lot of people in the United States supports me, but because I deal with a lot of, what do you call it, shadow banning and stuff like that, I don't have the one-on-one connection to people. Now, there's sometimes I'll get people commenting on Facebook. I get a lot of people who want to friend me on Facebook, but that's really the only place I visually see the support for me, when people reach out for friendship on Facebook. But these people go to great lengths to, number one, block out my accomplishments, meaning they try to tell people, don't talk to her, or don't acknowledge the Gordon's occupational engineering, or don't talk about the newsletter. They do things to try to even prevent people from mentioning my name online. My name, Maria Gordon. So this is one of the reasons why they're always talking about the chosen one and everything, when they really need to be saying Maria Gordon. Okay, so what these people do is, it's evil. It's evil. Okay, and I get tired of it. So obviously, because I understand that most people have been indoctrinated and they go to great lengths to try to suppress me, I honestly can tell you that it is impossible for me to formulate any strong, sincere friendship with people. You cannot be a friend if somebody's constantly trying to suppress you. You cannot be somebody's friend if they always want to compete against you. You cannot be somebody's friend if they try to cheat you out of a life. And see, this is one of the reasons why I don't ever, and see, this little girl that came over to my house, that I was talking about, I was sitting on the couch at my house a couple weeks ago or months ago. She came over because she was thinking the same thing. She was, wondering, like, I'm wondering about me being a self-made person. She understands that what I'm saying makes a lot of sense. And this is the same reason why the girl from the bank was looking into me. The reason why is because these people are associated with the same sort of network. They're part of the same network. Okay, and this is what I'm saying. And I can feel the tension drop within the community as I'm saying this, because I'm honing in on how the gang stalking works. Okay. And yes, people like, and I'm not trying to create problems. Okay. Because the only thing I really care about is getting back to work and getting back to my routine. Okay. I can block everybody out. As soon as I get something busy and I get back on my routine, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Okay. But you guys keep doing things to constantly stall me. And then I sit there and start looking at the crime that continues to go on and I keep talking about it. The intuitive message I'm getting from Eric Arias is that he looks at my life like I have a good life. I've lived correctly. I've made good decisions. Okay. I've made some of the best decisions. Okay. And yeah, I take my life very seriously. So much so that I do. I consider myself a philosopher. Why? Because I had to build me. I had to make me. I had to discover what I needed in life because I was around people that were never going to give that to me. So I am a safe, self-made person. And yeah, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Now, there are some people who talk about my cutoff game, like the cutoff game, because I made it very clear that I didn't want anything to do with my previous family. And a lot of people, they're afraid to go it alone because they only know their family, even if their family abuses them. Okay. And the thing is that, I understand I'm adopted. And even if I wasn't adopted, okay, let's just say, for example, those kids at 533 were my real blood siblings. Okay. I will tell you, if you ever went through gang stalking, if you ever went through being blacklisted, and these people were not emotionally available to you, or they were just sitting there watching you suffer, I would cut them off anyway. Okay, why? Because anybody who allows somebody to go through something like this is not worthy of me. Okay, so that already makes it so that I want nothing to do with most people. Okay, and so the only people that I understand that I probably have something in common with are probably the people who struggle with this whole burden baby thing, right? So I mean, I understand that I would like to get my projects advanced, and I've been unfortunately being forced in networks that I didn't want. This is usually the people that I used to know because they've been following me. I'm going to be very upfront with, and this is really important. I want to say this to make it very clear, okay? The people that I used to know in Lancaster, including the 533 kids, the Collins family, all their extended family members, and everything else. Okay, I'm sure you guys have moved on. Okay, but it doesn't seem like you have when I'm dealing with bank fraud. Okay, somebody is siphoning or trying to attempt to siphon, or at least trying to decide whether I'm able to, making decisions on me. Okay, and as these sort of people, like people like Terry Collins and my family, they did things to me in the past, okay, that I looked upon as abusive. Okay, so of course you don't want to gravitate, you don't want to grow or continue friendships with people that always make you feel like I just want to get distance from you. Okay. I moved over here in this community. You notice I didn't write anybody any letters and say, hey, I'm over here now in case you want to communicate. I never said anything like that. Okay. I literally came over in this Bakersfield area. I figured, you know what? I know more than people think I do. I figure I could make a pretty decent life here. Okay. So I came here in 2000, year 2000. Okay. And I know that my targeting had started picking up like in, when I was around the Maroon Family Farms period or whatever. But there is a reason why I distanced myself from these people. And I think what you guys have done have been this. I'm addressing the people I grew up with. Okay. You were, you believed in bullying me. You bullied me my entire life. Okay. You did not treat me well. Okay. And this is why I don't want to have anything to do with you. I don't want to have any sort of, I would never in a million years think to merge forces with you. I would never have any desire to, and I know a lot of people are thinking, this has something to do with Putin. Okay. Let me explain something. This is before I even realized, okay, about Putin or anybody else. Okay. And this is what you guys need to understand. I don't like you. And I don't like you because of the abuse that you put me through. Okay, whether Putin existed or not. Whether Putin existed or not, okay, I am willing to go out on my own because I don't want to be around you, nor do I want to be a part of your entanglements. And why I left the way that I did many years ago should have told you that. Okay, so take Putin out of the equation. Okay, I just don't like you. Okay, and I don't appreciate you trying to merge yourself or associate with me or send over any of your flying monkeys or anything. Okay, you you live lives that I find detestable. Okay. And I know some of you guys are saying, okay, I changed, or I see readings online that reference how people want to get back into my energy, or how could we apologize to they call me the collective. Can we, get back in? How can we do this? Okay. You cannot. Okay. And now I know some people are like, well, I can change, or I don't want to see it. I don't want to see you change. Okay. Leave me alone. Okay, I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want any memory of you. Okay, whether Putin existed or not, it has nothing to do with Putin or Justin Hayward or any other person. Okay, it is about my own life, my own personal goals. And you do not fit in or align with those things. Okay, and the message I'm getting right now is that I was adopted, and therefore I am not obligated or responsible for anyone other than myself. And it is what it is. And see, I know that you have abused me through systematic processes such as telling the bank, convincing Eric Arias. I want this all thrown out in the street. I really do. Okay. You have convinced Eric Arias in making up rules. Oh, she's a clone. She smokes weed. She dresses nice. She's this, that. And until she falls in line to basically what you're doing is you are practicing outright human trafficking, but outright slavery in a community, outright in front of everybody. That's exactly what you're doing. Institutionally, through Valley Strong Credit Union. I don't need your authorization for anything. Okay, the message I'm getting right now is that my company name is safe and no money has been collected off my company. Good. Okay, what are the reasons why I have not collected any money off my company? Because you have prevented me from conducting business. Okay, correctly. Okay, telling employers, oh, don't talk to her, or having people manning the desk, or creating fake job ads, or not making it so that I don't even have a network. See, this right here makes it human trafficking because you insisted that I stay around your people, the same people that I want away from after you've abused me. And then you sent this girl over here. Okay. And do I believe that this bank transaction has something to do with you guys? Absolutely. And I need it to come out in the open. I need this whole issue to be busted out in the open. Okay. I need this whole thing to be exposed. Okay. And I'm exposing it. Okay. And Eric Arias knows it. Okay, and so does Jay Whitmore at the bank. And I now know that Brian at I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm involving everybody in this. Okay, because if somebody's giving me a bad check, which if let's just, like I said, if the check is bad, then Brian's name is endorsed on that check. Somebody's creating fraud. Okay, somebody's gonna have to count for that. They told me they're not going to give me a fee since the check's going to be reversed. Okay, but I don't believe that. If it's good, then you guys are laundering money. Okay. And you know what? And I know people get angry when they get caught on doing their devilish stuff. I know that they do, right? Because they want to get away with it. They need to survive. They need to sit there and get funds. They need to do this sort of stuff. And then they get angry with me when I didn't. You should have never done this in the first place. I'm the one who suffers. And then and the reason why you have this attitude that you have is because you have mental illness, and it's really based on the church. Okay? You, from the very beginning, when the Collins first met me, because of my reputation that's associated with the church, they had it in their mind, well, I can do everything I want to her. See, this is why I'm telling you, the church as an institution and what they caused, it is all their fault. All of it. Okay? But at the same time, you guys are who you are. And now you guys are in situations where you feel like, oh, well, we need help. I want you guys to die in the street. Okay, after everything that you've done, you were trying to steal from me, trying to take my work, trying to use it for other things. First of all, my newsletter it was not meant to make any money. It's basically me, talking about my life. And somehow or another, I had gotten into his messages, not just my own intuitive message, but I've heard readings on YouTube about me and people trying to steal from me. And I don't understand. I know the whole self-love thing is mine. I know this revival and people, using stuffed animals and stuff I understand that's for me. I know for many years, even before all of this, people have been monitoring me and using my inspirations. I know that. I remember thinking this in high school. I kept thinking, how is it every time I get into something, it becomes kind of like a trend? And it's because people have been monitoring me for a very long time. Okay, the message I'm getting right now is that people do understand that I was going to school to be a CPA. Yes, I was. I was going to be a CPA. That was my thing, okay? I am no longer doing that, but I do know that I need to work, okay? And you guys have created so many interruptions for me. And then, well, I'm addressing everybody in this video. I'm addressing people like City Council, Eric Arias specifically, this Che Whitmore, Valley Strong Credit Union, Bakersfield Community, the people that I used to know. Because we need to get all of this out in the open because I'm tired of dealing with it. Okay? You think that you can just create problems and then dump it on me and then expect me to help you out of your problems? No. No. I don't care about you. Okay? And everything you've made me suffer through years. And you felt entitled to make me suffer for stuff that I don't even have anything to do with. Okay, Bruce was supposed to be married to Sarah. He thinks that he could have his hand in my stuff, and nobody seems to see anything but wrong with it. You know what I mean? And this is exactly the reason why I didn't marry him in the first place. Okay, and I know I'm bringing up a bunch of stuff, but it's a fact that Eric Araya sits there and creates. Yes, I'm going to sit here and call you're a check fraud, and then you sat there and said that I wasn't. You were concerned about me being my age or acting as if I didn't have authorization to conduct business in my own life. So you were communicating with the Collins? Were you calling the people over at 533? Who do you think owns me, Eric? So what you're doing is you're practicing human slavery. You better watch it, Eric. Okay? Because what you're doing is you're doing things that are illegal. And yes, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off every day that I have to get up and I'm not going to a job. Yeah, that you blocked me for. Okay, all I care about is going about my business, having a job, working. And no, it has nothing to do with Vladimir Putin. As you can tell, I've been making these videos for 10 consecutive years without Vladimir Putin even coming to my mind. Okay, so stop trying to minimize my major problems. Okay, I am sick and tired of dealing with you. I'm tired of dealing with this corrupt community. And do not sit here and don't ever sit here and act like it's a religious issue when all of you guys are from different denominations. Like I said, that you guys are a cult, period. Okay, you have no religious basis for doing what you're doing. The only thing that you're doing is you're jealous and you're enacting slavery out in the open. Okay, and I'm tired of it. I am tired of dealing with it. I have a right to a better quality of life. Okay, and no, I don't believe whatever that whole issue with the check is. It needs to come out, and it needs to come out for real. Okay. I'm tired of dealing with it. Okay, it's Thanksgiving. I'm not even in the mood for Thanksgiving today. I told my son, fuck it. I don't want to mess with it. I'm tired of it. Okay, and why am I in this mood? Because of people like you, Eric. What are you going to sit there and do? You're going to sit here and have a big Thanksgiving, have a nice dinner and everything? I guess you can do that, right? You can sit here and not have to worry about being a criminal, especially when everyone else is just like you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, and somehow I do know that I'm making some sort of impact on you, Eric, because I'm telling the truth. I haven't heard anything from Karen Go in a long time. I don't even know if she's still around. She could have been just like everybody else. Whatever, you know what? I'm not responsible for that. Okay. All I know is that I got backed into a corner. People were sitting here bullying me, and then I had the right to speak up about it. And see, this is what I'm talking about, retaliation. Was that check fraud that you just committed a part of your retaliation? I tried to just knock it off. What I want to do is I just want to get on with my life, okay? But then you guys have this attitude, well, she did this, so we need to do this. No, I want it to stop. It's always retaliation with you guys, okay? And it's not, and it shouldn't be this way. It's you guys grew up abusing me all these years, and then you want to continue to do it as an adult, and I'm saying no. And because I say no, then you have to sit here and mess with my money. Okay, Valley Strong Credit Union is a trafficking institution, and that's what it is, isn't it, Eric? The message I'm getting right now is something about, it's got nothing to do with Vladimir Putin, but the United States is watching this, and they're talking about this on videos all the time. First of all, if people want to say my name, they can say my name. Okay, they have every right to sit here and say my name, mention my name, talk about me if they want to, and mention my name. I know they're talking about me. I know they are. Okay, and I figured it all out. I had to figure out I was the King Solomon, whatever. I had to figure out all this stuff on my own. Okay, and I'm disturbed by it because after finding out that you guys were letting people who were abusing me my entire life take jabs at me and leave me wide open for abuse. in your community. And Eric Arias was sitting there helping him do it. And the reason why I'm saying you're helping him doing it, Eric, is because I forwarded you that email and I expect that whole issue to be resolved, honestly. Okay, somebody needs to make a, because if I'm going to send an email to a company and I'm not getting any response, I need to be suspicious of that, right? So I put everybody in that thread, right? So we need to get down to it. Because I'm tired of sitting here having my holiday messed up, Eric, when you can sit here and enjoy yours all the time when I did nothing wrong. And apparently, according to occupational engineering, seems to be, I get this intuitive message that it attracts customers. Well, it'd be nice, I think you guys purposely made it so that my son didn't pay my phone bill for my company. Okay. Because you were telling him not to help me out. Okay. My son, it worked, and he has the right to pay whatever he wants to pay. And the message that's coming to my mind right now is that I fought the institution and won. This is the whole thing, what you've been doing. Okay, my son is my son. Do you understand you have caused him mental problems? But you don't care. You don't care, Eric Arias. You don't care, all these people in this community. The little fat girl that you guys sent over. Yeah, I get it. They talk about things like the Matrix. You guys are the Matrix. You guys are the corrupt underground groups that sit here and work and orchestrate people's lives. Okay, the people that you talk about, and people will sit there and swear up and down that you're a conspiracy theorist because people really don't do those sort of things. But then deep down inside, they know that they're doing it themselves. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. People with their mixed, weird mental issues, brainwashed type thinking and stuff like that. The people that I knew growing up and observing, I wanted nothing to do with. So what you take advantage of the vulnerability of women who need help and you exploit them, Eric. Okay, I'm a woman all by herself and you're willing to exploit me in public forum, Eric, and even make it so that you leave people in destitution by playing with their money, Eric. Especially during Thanksgiving holiday, Eric. And yes, I gave the intuitive message that my soul tribe is assisting me. Hey, guess what, soul tribe? There's a possibility that the company that you might have associated me, got me a job from, that Eric's playing with that check. The message I'm getting right now is that I am more intelligent than the rest of the United States. And a lot of people do think it's funny. You know why? Because I understand the inner workings of my job. I get to see people who aren't qualified take jobs and positions. Okay. And I knew that stuff happens. I mean, that's institutional crime. People do it. But I had no idea how vast it is and how you guys work overtime to squash out hardworking people. You know what I mean? And then are willing to mock these hardworking people and exploit these hardworking people and then strategically try to design setups for these people to die, Eric. You're giving people open range to things that belong to me, Eric. I hope I ruin your Thanksgiving, Eric. Because apparently, from what I understand, many people from the Valley Strong Credit Union are going to be losing their jobs, Eric. Did you ever see yourself in the unemployment line, Eric? Did it ever occur to you that you could be there, Eric? The message I'm getting right now is that I have proved that mental illness exists in Christian groups. At least these cult groups, okay? And like I said, I know the church did me dirty. The church did me really dirty, okay? They did a lot of people dirty. Okay, but it's these little people that get together after being, indoctrinated. Maybe a leader might have heard some stuff at her Catholic church, and then you have this Chi Whitman. She could be like a Lutheran. They've heard stuff at their church. I'm some sort of legend in church lore, and I don't know what. I'm assuming you're a Catholic, but chances are you may be a born again Christian. You've heard stuff at my church, so you guys get together and say, "Hey, there's something wrong with her. We're going to bully this person," and that's what you did, right, Eric? I bet you that whole check story, that whole transaction tells a lot, right? I want them to investigate that, Eric. Okay? I am tired of sitting here having to deal with your crap. And yeah, I'm going to put it on you, okay? Because I don't think it's a coincidence that this woman who works at Valley Strong Credit Union is going to go out of the office and then have me, I saw your name. Oh, if you have any questions, contact Eric or Ias. Hey, isn't that funny? Isn't that the dude that is on my blast? And isn't that the guy who is a part of city council? I always send you guys stuff, but you guys never respond back. In fact, you guys use that stuff against me, aren't you? Because you really haven't done anything in the community. Let's just face it. You're just using that opportunity to sit here and try to bully me more. That's the kind of person you are, Eric. It's a good thing we have free speech, Eric, in this country. Of course, I know there's been people who've worked behind the scenes to try to trash America to take away that free right, okay? But I'm hanging on to it. The intuitive message I'm saying is joy comes to those who love the New World Order. Everyone feels better and agrees that it's the best way of life. Of course it is, Eric, because you know what? It protects people from fraud, Eric. It protects people from people like you, Eric. You know? So anyway, the message I'm getting right now is people are think that I should be proud to be authentic. I am who I am. I'm a product of course, my bloodline. I'm a product of things I experienced, And, I will say growing up, I know that the people that I was around, I always had to deal with their rude comments. And I get it. You know what I mean? So I let's leave it at that. I don't want any more people trying to float things in my account. I want the issue of this check. I want a resolution by this week. I do. Okay, and it better be the way it needs to be. And what I mean by that is I want the truth. Okay, I don't believe Shea Whitmore's lie. Okay, I believe she intercepted that, and I also believe that this particular Karen girl, because Karen, the mess when I think about Karen, she's focusing on this with the issue that's going on at the credit union. So I don't know. I don't want to sit here and think about it too much, but I believe it's the credit union is messing things up. There's fraud going on in the credit union, is what I'm saying. Because I haven't talked to Karen since yesterday. Yeah, yesterday morning. It was 9 o'clock or something like that. When was I called the bank? I don't remember when, but whatever the case is, it was 26. Okay, so it had to have been yesterday. Okay, she said she was going to contact me at 9 o'clock. She didn't contact me. I let her know that the check came back and they said it was fraudulent. Okay, I don't want to hear that. Okay, because if Karen wrote a fraudulent check, then she needs to fess up to that. Okay, Brian would need to know, or something's going on. Okay, but right now I think it's 100% the credit union. Okay, so you're trying to block what my union with Vladimir Putin. Hey, Vladimir Putin, did you know that these people are messing? They're committing bank fraud and possibly something else. Eric, I'll be your worst nightmare, Eric, if you continue to have this community act the way that it does. I will, because I will not stop. Okay? There's nothing in me that wants to stop, especially, only thing I want is I want my routine back. Okay, I want to go to work. I want to come home. I want to go and spruce up my back patio every once in a while. I want to rearrange my closet area in my spare room so I can have room to put stuff in storage. And I just want to wrap up the rest of my life in a nice little bow, Eric. And that's all I want to do. And I got people like you that are sitting here doing everything you can to cover up for people like Shea Whitmore. Okay? And no, I'm going to be very clear. You guys do not fit my definition of friendship. Okay? Because I understand what a friend is. Okay? You're an acquaintance. I know who you are. That's it. Okay? Because everything you do has undermined me. Okay? And that goes for anybody who has disrespected me. So do not sit here and try to make up a story, because my cards are telling me the truth. I believe it, and my intuition is telling me the truth. Okay? So what these people need to know is what Donald Trump needs to know is that these people are fraudulent. And as far as people not making money off my business model, I'm very glad, because I kept thinking, how in the world could they? But that doesn't mean that they wouldn't try, right? Because Gordon's occupational engineering is me. Okay, so when I create, and I understand that people were convincing people, like the guy at Wix, the people who run or man my website. I understand that you guys, this was church issue. So the guy was supposed to assist me to build my website. He refused. He didn't do anything. He sent me an email, then he didn't follow up. And I knew this was because of church indoctrination. And then somebody orchestrating the scenes, okay? Well, the church has vindicated me now. And I do not expect to deal with people. I don't want to deal with him anyway, okay? But I built that website myself. And I know it doesn't look the greatest, okay? But, I had to do things my own, okay? And why should I sit here and have to struggle all the time just because of evil people? Okay, the message I'm getting right now, I'm glad that it didn't. Okay, my newsletter is mine. Okay. It's my newsletter. It's not anyone else's. Okay. It belongs to me. All of my work belongs to me. And I, I want to be able to prosper with my inventions, my creations, okay? And it's my choice who I partner with. And I'm not partnering with just anybody. Okay? And like you guys send people over here like that girl really bothers me, Eric, because I know that she was a part of the bank fraud too. I know she is. Okay? So right now you ruined my Thanksgiving. Okay? You already ruined my Thanksgiving. Okay, you guys sit there and think, oh, she's okay. Maria's fine. She's got her son. No, I'm not okay with that, Eric. Okay, I'm tired of people who sit here and try to speak for me and act like, well, she should be happy or that or whatever. No, Eric, it's not your responsibility to decide what's good my fate or anybody else's for that matter. So I suggest you erase your everything notation off of the data bank in Valley Strong Credit Union. I don't want to hear any more of your lies at all. Okay. I mean, I'm shocked at the evil and the calculated stuff that goes on in this community. I really am. Who the people in leadership should not, and I don't want to go on anymore about it because you guys know I will never respect you ever. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. Okay, and don't sit here and try to limit my rights or anything. No one is over me. You don't need to call the Collins. You don't need to have anything to do with the 533 people. And I cannot believe that you're doing this. Okay, I can't believe that you were sitting here trying to ruin my life when I've done nothing wrong. I've never done anything to hurt anybody. And then you're sitting here trying to ruin my son's life too. And you're sitting here trying to make him into some sort of double agent. Okay, I don't respect you. The message I'm getting right now is that my soul tribe is insisting with the investigation. Good. Okay. And then something about me getting the acknowledgement of, I'm paring down human trafficking. That's what I'm doing. You know why? Because the people that I used to know in my past, the 533 kids in the night school, they were highly indoctrinated by the church. I now understand that the church plays an integral role, at least indirectly, in human trafficking. Okay, because it only inspired jealous people to sit here and convince themselves that they are righteous in organized crime. Just like Rashawn, there's nothing righteous about Rashawn. There's nothing righteous about him. Okay, but if he sits there and says, hey, I go to church and he can attract a bunch of other dependently delusional people, then he can feel strong. He can feel good about himself. Okay, but see, you imagine growing up in I want to call it like a Joseph Mengele type experiment type thing, and then having to be around people that are sitting here trying to degrade you and hate you, they don't like you, and then I end up emerging victoriously. And you know why, Eric? Because I already knew that your religion was fake. But I didn't know the whole story at the time, but I certainly knew that you guys were brainwashed. And I certainly knew that there was something mentally off with everybody. Because I would sit there and look at people like Tanya, and I would sit there and look at the inconsistencies in which she thought she believed. She would say one thing and she really meant another. She didn't know what she believed. All she knew is that her pastor wanted to convince her of stuff, so she mimicked the same thing her pastor did. She was nothing more than a parrot, and I knew it. Okay. And I knew that this was very common in most of the people that I encountered. Okay. And I honestly kept thinking, maybe I'm the kind of individual that is just on the outside of the system. Okay. And like I said, you guys did everything, these kids did everything they could to keep me out of the system. They bullied me out of school. They did. And they loved doing it. Okay. And when I still stood up, then they were still like, oh, it pissed them off. They just want to stomp you out because it makes them feel good about themselves. And you see, this is the kind of church activity that people engaged in throughout the years. This is why the people were excited about going to church. It's because this is where they can get their bloodlust satisfied, Eric. They can sit there and talk about how they're going to kill somebody, and it makes them feel good. You know what I mean? How they can plot and throw people out, make them homeless. You know what I mean? And they feel like they're in alignment with God. They're so warped, Eric. They really are. And this is one of the reasons why I knew that they were mentally ill. And most people are dealing with residual mental illness. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. And see, I know that most people do not have anything to offer me on an emotional level. It's impossible for me to believe that most people could be my true friend based under those circumstances right there. So I have to be very careful about people. Okay, I don't appreciate you fumbling my bank transactions. Okay, and that was completely fraudulent. And God forbid, I hope that I think you should be paying a serious penalty for that. Okay, these people, if that was orchestrated, if that job was orchestrated by the Soul Tribe, okay, these people were trying to block you guys. Okay, you're trying to block somebody with authority, because the message I'm getting is that the company Eagle Bend, I do believe they're a reputable company. They're an actual company. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens this upcoming week. Okay. Personally, I'm tired of seeing this kind of stuff going on. Okay, and like I said, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. You remember that expression? So I kept thinking, I understand how much crime goes on here. I wanted to leave this community. I did several times, and I was hoping to find an opportunity that was maybe a job that was outside of the community, so that I could just work from home. I could be away from this community as much as I possibly could. You know what I mean? But you guys blocked it. You blocked it. Okay, you squashed out an opportunity for me. I think possibly happen. The other message I'm getting is that so many people agree with the childhood issue, and something about, yeah, you did. You're responsible for that. And see, the message I'm getting is that you guys look at my research as really impressive, and see, you guys feel threatened by my projects, and you guys decided to mess with me just because you wanted to bully somebody. That's what you did. So then you felt like, well, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And see, this is what you think bank transactions are supposed to be. That check, if it was legitimate, it should have been deposited in my account. And maybe I could understand putting a hold on it, but I did not think that it should be held for 7 days. Right? So this lady ended up contacting me. Shay Whitmore ended up contacting me when I didn't contact her. Somebody drew her attention to my YouTube account. I'd like to know, was she just, or she's a part of the network? See, she's a part of the network, watching my video, saw my video, and then she had to sit here and talk about it, and then sat there and got confused, thinking that, well, we had this conversation. We didn't have a conversation. She just saw the video. She got it mixed up. She knew that I was aware that I suspected something was going on at the credit union, but we never discussed it. She just had it in her mind that we did, and then this is why she sent me that email. Right? So I understand, people, I want to work. I understand people do things, they keep things private, and I respect that. And I don't like picking out everyone's mind. I don't like picking at people's minds. I don't like to sit here. But see, I have to understand my surroundings, Eric, because I'm the only person I have. Okay? I'm the only person I can trust. And I love my son, okay? But unfortunately, because you guys try to indoctrinate him, I feel very careful about what I say around my own son. And that's your fault, Eric. See, this is the, I wish, you're the kind of person, Eric, that I feel no sympathy for. Okay, because you don't even respect what's sacred. I have the right to have, my own son. And what bothers me is that apparently the messages that I've been getting is that my son has been indoctrinated by you guys. Well, not necessarily you, but people like I used to know. Of course, like my former siblings and stuff like that. My son was influenced by these people when he was a minor. That means that there's certain things about you guys that he normalizes. Okay, and I look at you guys as nothing but criminals, and that bothers me. Because what I was thinking, that I was just dropping my son off at my sister's house, or Houston was just going to go over to somebody else's house, or what, he was being around people in this community, and they were teaching him things that I wish he never learned. And now he watched my videos, and he understands that these people are dead wrong. Okay, and that these people were actually trying to hurt his own mother. Yeah, I basically said, yes, this was a death plot that this community orchestrated, and they were trying to get my son to be involved in it. Tell me I'm wrong, Eric. Hmm? You were using my son so that he can say things and get people to pretend that he was my son's friend, so that he can divulge information, and then you turn around and use it, Eric. I understand how COINTELPRO works. So, I'm here on Thanksgiving Day and I'm not happy, Eric. I'm pissed off on Thanksgiving Day. You know why I'm pissed off on Thanksgiving Day? Because of people like you, Eric. I want a good holiday season and it's getting off to a bad start. All because of you and deciding to mess with my stuff. And the intuitive message I'm getting is that because people think that me and Vladimir Putin are going to get along, right? And you guys were trying to block that. What they call on YouTube, union. You purposely tried to block that union. And say, like I said, Vladimir lives over there and I live here. You know what I mean? But you just did what you wanted, Eric, is you want to leave me in financial destitution. This is why you guys got together and thought it was okay to mess with social services and all this other stuff, Eric. You were hoping I would commit suicide. That's what you were doing. Yeah, you guys investigate that check. Okay. And I don't want to hear any bullshit. Because I don't believe that check is bad. Okay, it is. If it is, it's because you guys made it so. Okay, I don't believe it is. I don't believe that it is. Okay, so, and I don't know what's going on over there, but that girl better know. I do not send any more of your flying monkeys to my house. Do not sit here and have people act rude to me in the store. Do not sit here and expect my son. My son's helping me out in the next couple of weeks. He has to. I'm tired of you guys sinking me. I'm tired of it. I am so sick of it. Okay. And this whole issue, the message that's coming to my mind is like, it's agreed that me and Vladimir should have should become friends, should develop a friendship. See, what you're doing is you don't want me to be around my own kind of people. So you want me to be around people who are sitting here going to abuse me, but you don't want me to be around people that I can possibly click with. How selfish is that? How selfish is it and that's typical of and indicative of the people that I used to know. Terry Collins was sitting here trying to prevent me from having anything, right? Just so she could be happy. And I don't owe her anything. You know what I mean? I already made it very clear that she was an abusive racist, and she still wants stuff from me. It's like, I mean, you need to understand that these indoctrinated people from different denominations, it's all stuff from the same source. The Mormon church is sitting here filling these people's lives in different congregations about who I am, the nature of me, and all this. As if I've never been half as evil as you guys. I couldn't imagine, and everybody knows it. Everybody can say that I'm an ethical person. Everybody. Okay, and the reason why I talk about workplace laws and stuff because I believe in applying ethics into the workplace. Okay, I'm not trying to rip anybody off, deceive somebody, get away with something. I'm not doing that. When I conduct business, I do things in a fair and humane way. Okay, I treat everybody with respect. I say good morning, hello. You know what I mean? I have not done anything, but yet it's okay for other people to treat me with utter disrespect in a community that you're aware of, or you might even instruct people to do, Eric. But I'm tired of it. Okay, I'm tired of dealing with stuff that I don't I shouldn't have to deal with. I'm tired of not having a job, Eric. You know what I mean? Because you're telling the communities like, well, don't talk to Maria, or because Maria dresses nice. She always dresses nice. Yes, being dressed nice, that's what I'm into. Okay, so I need to find workplaces that are conducive to my way of life. And if I couldn't, then I have the right to make Gordon's occupational engineering, and you still want to control over that. Okay? The message I'm getting right now is that the story of the orphan trains and the burden babies is the truth, and I healed many people. I revealed the church's secret. Yes, that is a church's secret. And so what's creepy about that is the fact that they don't tell the person who has to deal with their abuse. Like my mother and the adoptive parents that I had, they should have just said, you know what, Maria, the church arranged your adoption, a bunch of Masons and the church got together, to arrange your adoption and stuff. And the reason why you were a clone is because you didn't get along with the church or whatever. And you apparently did, there was paranormal activity associated with your existence when you were at this age or whatever. And see, that would have told me what I needed to know, the root of it. Okay, so there was an issue that would have let me know that there was some sort of paranormal. Now, I couldn't fix it because I am who I am. You know what I mean? I am who I am. This is who I am. I have angelic origins, or what they call alien or angelic origins. This is my DNA. Okay, so that's unfair right there, but right there. But it's even worse by the fact that they don't tell you. Okay, so what it is like they strategically design it so a person has to go on with their life, right, encountering people who treat them like shit, and you're not supposed to know why. Okay, and and the church they get off on it. It's like, oh, we're so much better than this like King Solomon bloodline because like we have all this and this and this, but we strategically designed it so this particular person, this other bloodline, is going to have a harder time, so we get to win. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, and everything that is surrounding this whole bloodline targeting is illegal. So I'm going to tell you right now, do not sit here and try to test me or act as if I have assignment. We have people on YouTube that sit here and talk about my assignments. The only assignment I have is with God. So anybody who sits here and tries to test me or try to put me to the test, fuck you a million times over, because you know that this was a Joseph Mengele experiment and that was inhumane. Okay, I understand throughout the years, there's been experiments on people where they come up and they're like, oh, that was wrong. And then they make public statements about it. Like, for example, when they injected the Tuskegee experiment, when they injected people with syphilis just to see how long they could suffer, live with under those conditions, and didn't tell them about it. Same thing. Okay, so I find it really offensive when people sit here and try to test me and stuff like that, because that's exactly it's like a residual effect of what happened, or how the tragedy of how I was created in the first place. Okay, so doing that is a form of disrespect, Eric. So I expect it to stop in your community. Okay, you are a vile human being and one I could never respect. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that yes, live for myself. Yes, I live for myself, Eric. I don't have anyone else. Okay, and yes, you ended up abusing a woman all by herself, a woman who was already abused. You know what I mean? That didn't deserve it. And what's worse is that yes, I am a child of God, regardless of what you think, and everything proves it. Everything proves my divinity. Everything, everything. The very fact that I can sit here and look through your stuff, the very fact that I know more than everybody else, and yes, some of that is, it's actually applying knowledge correctly. Okay, is what it is. Okay, I acquired that knowledge. I didn't make it up, or it didn't come. Yes, I did acquire. You're wondering how in the world did she acquire the knowledge? I did acquire that knowledge. I did my study. Now, when it comes to psychology and stuff like that, I learned it in reverse. Meaning, I understood that I studied people, and then as I got older, then I took a formal study, or I learned like the terminology of what I was already observing. So I learned it in my own way. Okay, and you know what? Those methods work. As a matter of fact, like when my son was younger, and him and my niece used to get together, I used to love playing school, and I kept thinking, wouldn't that be kind of fun if I created my own school? But of course, I never did it. And what I am, Eric, is I represent the alternative. I'm the proof that the institution doesn't work. I'm the proof that the institution is built on lies. I'm talking about their religious institution as well as their education institution. And you know what? I love it. I love representing the alternative because I understand and I totally believe in it. And you know what? Most people who claim to be educated, they believe in it too. This is the reason why people go so far to try to stomp me out, because they're threatened by it. They know that I know more than they do. Okay. But what goes on in your community about trying to block people, the fake ads? I posted a video. I'm sure you watched it. I expect that shit to happen. I'm tired of dealing with it. I am so tired of dealing with it. Um, I deserve a job. I deserve to work. I deserve to have a regular life. I deserve to see that my son is not going to be. And yes, I look at you. What you do to my son is abuse. You abuse my son. Stop abusing my son. He is over the age of 18 and he's beholden to no one, including his mother. Okay, I don't sit here and expect my son to give me tabs, or I don't authorize my son to do anything. He's over the age of 18. He's a grown man, Eric. So what's going on at Chase Bank or his finance institution? You need to have it fixed. Okay, I don't want you hindering my son or harassing my son in any way. What you do is evil, Eric. You're evil. Okay? You're evil. What you want to do is you want to see superior people with superior intellect, and you want to somehow make them suffer or humble them is what you want to do. And this is what you want to do to try to mess with them. You don't have any right to do something like that, Eric, and it's cruel. Okay? And there's laws against it. You do nothing but violate the law. Okay. What else do I want to say? The message I'm getting right now is that thank you for my accomplishments. People look at me as someone to be thankful for because of me reversing the government shutdown. Also, the message I'm getting is that many blessings are coming to me. I hope so. They need to hurry up. Okay. I don't want to. I don't like being on other people's timeline, Eric. You know what I mean? In the real world, in the best world system, I would be able to go find a job easily. Why? Because I would be able to be known for my talents, my skills, everything that I have to bring to the table, and people would hire me just like that. Okay, but we know that there's people who want to determine people's what do you call it, fate. Okay, they like to be the little devils that sit here and decide whether people are supposed to get stuff that they should, like how Che Whitmore was falsifying that information at the bank. Okay, the message I'm getting right now is that people are hoping that I have more ambition and that they want me to put my inspiring ideas into action and be looking forward to meeting business connections. Okay, and you know what makes me uncomfortable about that, Eric, is that most of these people come from this community. And I'm worried that they're going to be just as vile as the people at your credit union. That's why. You know what I mean? So it's your responsibility to clean it up with your title that you have, Eric. I'm tired of it, and I don't want people putting pressure or telling my son what to do with money. Yes, I'm going to have to use my son to get money this upcoming week because of your problems, Eric. Of what you guys do. You guys try to put me in a state of financial destitution. I already have lost my car. You guys helped yourself to my credit cards. And yes, I'm blaming Karen Go. I'm blaming Aleta. I'm blaming Mary Landucci and a bunch of other people that had no right to have anything to do with my stuff. Okay? What you guys do is you like to put people in states of destitution, and you do this for your own entertainment, Eric. The message I'm getting right now is people acknowledge the fact that I smoke weed. And yeah, I do smoke weed. you know so that means I should be working for places that are weed friendly, like a dispensary or something that represents the fun lifestyle or different alternative lifestyle or something along the. And of course, I can work in a job that where I'm just sitting here in an office all by myself, like when I was working over at the Laverne, place. I didn't like the guy. I hated his ass. But what I did like was the fact that I had an office to myself and I was by myself. Okay, because really, I'm going to be upfront with you. Me dealing with managers that are incompetent to me is very frustrating. They don't have anything to instruct me. I don't even want to have to deal with them. So I'm better off being off to myself. The message I'm getting is that I got revenge. These women are losing their jobs, their families, their friends, and they're going homeless and they're committing suicide. Thank God. The message I'm also getting is that violence against these women is increasing. Many of these people are getting beat. It's their fault. That's their fault. And I told them, what I mean? So it's like, maybe this is, see, like I said, I believe that there's way too many people here on the earth. So if there's some sort of cleansing that needs to happen, let's start with them. Let's start, and they are a big problem, Eric. They really are. They're the kind of people I said they're greedy, not just with food, but greedy with things. They always want to be the first to have stuff, and if they see somebody with something, even if they don't even want it, they want to make sure that they destroy it. Okay, and like I said, I struggled with this truth. Like I knew it was true, but I kept thinking, well, if I said it out loud, then then that's going to make me. I'm already an unpopular person, but the simple fact that the church did this on purpose. They tried to label me that in the first place, so I don't really care what I have to say because I deep down inside, most people know it's true anyway. Okay, fat women can't be trusted, and the last thing I want is to have one come to my house. Okay, and sitting on my couch scoping up because I understand what she was trying to do. She was sitting here. I knew when she was here. She was like, I'm like, there is no way in the world a fat person's going to come in my house and not cause trouble. And I kept thinking, Maria, you shouldn't be thinking that. But at the same time, lo and behold, okay. And seriously, I understand there are some women who struggle with their weight and they are trying really hard. Maybe some people are content with how they are, and like I said, that's fine if that's what they choose. Okay, but you don't need to lash out. You don't need to lash out. There's a lady who makes YouTube videos, and I know she's kind of overweight, and I think she's I like her a lot. I watch her videos that she posts, and I always think I hope that you don't. I don't hope you don't become evil. That's all I'm saying. And I just hope you don't become evil because obese people have the tendency to be evil. At least the women do. You know what I mean? And I don't really know very many obese men, but I'm pretty sure they have that same tendency. And I've seen it over and over and over again. I'm a victim of it. Okay, where these obese women are literally trying to force me into suicide. I bet you could be. I don't know if Che Whitman is overweight. I really don't know. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if she was. Okay, but she could very well be just a jealous woman who wants to block this relationship that I have with Vladimir Putin. And the fact of the matter is like, okay, so let's just say, so she blocks a check, okay, because she doesn't like the fact that Vladimir Putin wants to be my friend, okay. But see, that's not going to make him want to be her friend. You know what I mean? I gotta say, Vladimir Putin, I'm just addressing Vladimir Putin right now. You must be, I think you're a very handsome dude, okay? You got women over here. You got women over here that want to tear my eyes out, okay? Just because that's how cute you are, Vladimir Putin. I'm serious, okay? I gotta laugh at it because seriously though, I need to get back to work, regardless of Vladimir Putin. And I've been this way, because I'm all I have. I don't have, anybody to fall back on. And the people who say that I can fall back on them or who claim to want to help me, it's very self-serving and it's very trafficky. They want to obligate me into certain things like marrying one of their freaks or something, and I don't. I'm done with that life, okay? And it's time to move on. And a lot of people, they don't have the courage to move on by themselves because, they just accept it. You know what I mean? But I don't accept it. I don't accept people basically doing things that is the equivalent of calling me the N word and then expecting me to want to be friends with them. No. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and deal with my siblings when they were basically looking at me as some sort of slave. No. I'm not going to deal with the kids from grade school who I now see were highly influenced, indoctrinated by Nazi ideology. You know what I mean? And even though some of these kids, I really do get the feeling that some of these kids are like, my God, I can't believe I was like that, or I get that, okay? But still, they would still have a lot of, rebuilding and what do you call it, deprogramming to do. And and it is what it is, okay? But you got to understand, all those people do, the thought of it, it's trauma, trauma. And see, you hate me so much, Eric, that you want me to be traumatized. That's what you and Karen go, guys. And you guys, I bet your whole city council meetings are based on how you can destroy and hurt people. And this is what makes you powerful. This is what makes you proud. That's what makes you proud. You're so proud of it. Knock it off, Eric. Okay, I need to get on with my life. So anyway, yes, I'm going to continue smoking weed. Weed is legal. Oleta was a part of this. Okay. Whatever. I'm just done with Oleta. People are. I get it. A lot of women are really upset about this whole Vladimir Putin thing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not responsible for that. Okay. And so by people thinking that it's okay to break rules in their company or create some sort of bank fraud or float checks or to create money laundering just so they can screw me over, you're putting your job and your reputation on the line. Okay. Or is it so that if Che Whitmore gets fired, Eric, you're such a, slimy person. You can always make sure she has another job and give her another chance because they're all a part. You guys are all part of a network that does illegal stuff anyway. Right, Eric? The message I'm getting right now is that I'm looked upon as 100% analytical and I enjoy the arts. So now you take me seriously, Eric. I'm sure you were part of that group with Holly Colhane that was sitting here harassing me, acting like there was something wrong with me, like I wasn't up to par. I don't care if I'm up to your standard, Eric. Okay, but what I do expect is I expect to have a decent life the rest of my life. Okay, and this is what I care about. Okay, and I want to make sure I don't have to be traumatized by any more of your stupid bank transactions or any dumb, store clerk or some ignorant screw up that's going to sit here and try to create problems for me on the bus. Okay, I deserve to have respect. Okay, I am a child of the divine that you chose to say, and so I look at you guys as the devil. Your institution, what you, Karen, go and all in your city council stand for. You guys are of the devil. Okay. You need to understand, me and my son are over the age of 18. I don't want any more problems at his bank. Okay. As when it comes to his employer, my son needs to be on direct deposit. Okay. I don't want to deal any more with checks. Checks are bullshit. They're bullshit. Okay. This is one of the reasons why, people talk about, for many years, people talked about getting rid of checks. Like they were just useless things. They cause problems, and it just leaves people open for fraud. That's why I did not want to be given a check in the first place. I would think that girl Karen, we should have known better. Why would you give me a check? I don't even know you. I don't know you enough to have a check, especially you're in a different state. You're going to pay this off with a check? Really? That's a bad idea. Ideally, what she should have done was she should have just paid for my materials, had them sent to my house. And then as for the sign-on bonus, she should have just added that on to to a regular paycheck once I started working, if that was a legitimate offer. See, the check, never. She should know that. And maybe she's new. I don't know how old she is. Maybe if this was legitimate, I'm saying. If it's legitimate, she needs to know that that was a bad move. The intuitive message I'm getting is that yes, the soul tribe is assisting with the investigation. Goody goody. Okay. And I don't think I'm going to be satisfied with any other answer, Eric, other than the truth. Okay. So if somebody has to go down, Eric, it ain't going to be me. And so I got the intuitive message that I prove the mental illness in Christians, and people can relate and know that I'm telling the truth. So, and like I said, if Che Whitmore is trying to falsify something, and let's just say, for example, Karen over there at Eagle Band was really offering me a position, and she really did write me a check. Because a lot of people don't think about it. Okay. Especially a lot of young people who don't really work in an office or worked in an office for very long, they don't understand and think about it. Okay. But why checks are not a good idea, especially in those sort of transactions. So this is one of the reasons why I was already nervous. I kept thinking, oh my God, you know what I mean? And in my soul tribe, I do get the intuitive feeling that they were somehow a part of it. So since they were a part of this, they have every right to investigate it, Eric. And like I said, I expect to have a positive outcome, Eric. And I am not going to eat it this time. I do not want to eat it, meaning like I am not going to sit here and let anybody allow me to suffer anymore, Eric. So that check better be right, Eric, because I did include, and something about me smoking weed. It's not for you to decide, Eric. That was not a part of my bank stipulations, Eric. That was not a part of my agreement when I signed up for Valley Strong Credit Union. It didn't say anything about me smoking marijuana and not being able to be a customer. So what you're doing is you're making up rules as you go along, because I don't care what your justification is, Eric. That's not what you get paid to do. You get paid to sit here and collect money and deposit people's accounts, not decide who gets blessed with what they call on these online tarot readings, blessed with a union or something along those lines. And that's all that's new to me, because like I said, I think in terms of employment law, and I understand, yes, people can arrange jobs as long as it's not under some sort of oppression. But what I'm saying is like I'm hearing these sort of terminologies, and it's new to me because, like I said, to me it's always been okay. You apply for a job and you go to work. You know what I mean? And I understand a lot of people get involved with these sort of customs and these sort of traditions where they have things like kingdom spouses and stuff like that. And people have this normal terminology with it, like, oh, this is your kingdom spouse or whatever. Okay. But anyway, Eric, yeah, I hope that I hope that this is going to be resolved. Okay. And I want justice, Eric. Okay. And I want my son to be treated with respect in every institution, meaning you do not hold his money. You don't tell him what to do with his money. He spends his money when he spends his money and how he spends his money. Okay. Because what you're doing, Eric, is you are committing slavery out in the open. As if my son doesn't have any rights to his own money. That's exactly the legal terminology of what you're doing. What you're doing is a form of human trafficking, which is slavery. Especially if you're sitting here denying my son to have any sort of, what do you call it, benefit from his own funds. If he's working for the cause on behalf of somebody else, that's considered slavery, Eric. So you're in violation. And if I end up tearing this entire town down, so be it. Okay. But one thing, I am not going to suffer anymore, Eric. Okay. So everything's going to be returned to sender. Because if my soul tribe is involved in this investigation, then I think then we need to do the right thing. So Donald Trump, I want you to understand, Eric is going to be a suspicious person. I'm looking upon him as being suspicious. He needs to be, this whole thing needs to be researched. Okay, because if Eagle Bend is a legitimate employer, and it seemed like it was a great opportunity, I would prefer to work at home than do anything else. I would prefer to work at home than go into an office and have to work among Bakersfield people. Okay, that would be, I was hoping that would work out. I really was. Okay, Vladimir Putin, that issue, it was aside from that. Okay, I was already planning on, like, rearranging my furniture in that spare room, how I was going to have it laid out. You know what I mean? I just want to get on with my life. Okay. So if that is an actual opportunity, you need to make sure that it goes through. Okay. Or if you cash that check, right? And then Shea Whitmore ended up walking away with those funds, because the message I'm getting right now is that I got revenge. Something about these women are losing their jobs and their families. Okay. But we still need to account for that $3,000, Eric. We need to account for that $3,000. Where is it? Okay. And don't sit here and act like, oh, that check got returned. I don't think so, Eric. Okay, my soul tribe is watching this. And my soul tribe, there's important names in this. So where is that money, Eric? Okay, you can say that, oh, the check was returned. We don't believe it, Eric. I don't believe it. Prove it, Eric. Okay. Like I said, I expect this issue to be resolved by Friday or Monday. I'm going to wrap this video up. The message I'm getting right now is that, yes, people are looking at me as, and see, yes, I am self-made. But what I'm talking about, the process of how the banking system works, Eric, you should have learned that in your schooling, Eric. If not by experience, Eric, but definitely by school. When it comes to the ethics of how you're supposed to process these transactions, it's not public knowledge, Eric. It's supposed to be private. I deposit a check, right? And then it goes into my account. It shouldn't be discussed with anybody. Shouldn't be anything of that. It just goes into my account. Okay. So you guys like to play God with these sort of transactions. I would have preferred working for Eagle Bend than any other place. Why? Because I don't want to work among you guys. Okay. The message I'm getting right now is that people are acknowledging the fact that I do have a great management technique. I do understand the ins and outs of my job. A lot of people are very interested in this smarter way of managing things, And I know that I should be further along in my career, but I've had people block me, Eric. So this check that's going on, it needs to be researched. Okay? That money needs to be accounted for. And I need to find another job, and I need to find one immediately, quickly, because you fucked up my Thanksgiving, Eric. You will not screw up my Christmas. The message I'm getting is I have the support of the United States, and I'm going to leave it at that for now. I've got a lot of things I want to try to get done. You know what I mean? I'm trying to put a dent in some of my creative projects. But yeah, I don't appreciate it. And if Brian from the general manager from, what do you call it? The general manager at Eagle Bend, if he needs to be aware of this. The message I'm getting about Brian is something about me being over the age of 18. Yes, I'm over the age of 18. I can work. Okay. But I do get the intuitive feeling that I'm not going to accept anybody's lie. Okay. And the message I'm getting right now is that the first thing that's coming to the card that I pulled is something about Vladimir Putin. Okay. And this is what you guys were trying to do, is trying to block my job that was arranged by this particular person. There's envy surrounding my creations and this sort of thing. And this is why I got held up at the bank. Okay. I don't believe anything that you say, Eric. So I'm not going to accept it. So if that $3,000 was cashed and possibly rerouted to somebody else, you need to account for those funds in front of everybody, Eric. So I'm going to wrap this video up, and I'll be back with another one sometime later. Take care.